All right, mates, let's dive into this history lesson. We're talking about the Russo-Turkish Wars, a series of brutal conflicts spanning centuries. Imagine a boxing match, but instead of rounds, it's hundreds of years. And instead of boxers, it's two empires slugging it out for dominance. From the 16th to the 20th centuries, these two titans clashed repeatedly, shaping Eastern Europe and the Black Sea region. Think epic battles, shifting alliances, and political intrigue. These wars were about control of vital trade routes and territory. Russia craved warm water ports and more territory. The fate of millions in the Balkans hung in the balance. Would they remain under Ottoman rule or find freedom? The answer is complicated, so buckle up, history buffs, for the epic saga of the Russo-Turkish Wars. Now, what sparked this centuries-long feud? Picture this: the mighty Ottoman Empire, a sprawling Islamic power, sitting pretty on the Bosphorus Strait, the gateway to the Mediterranean. On the other side you have Russia, an Orthodox Christian empire with ambitions of expanding its territory and influence. See where the tension lies? Religion was a major factor, with Russia often portraying itself as the protector of Orthodox Christians living under Ottoman rule. It's never a good sign when religion gets involved in geopolitics. Then there's the small matter of land. Both empires had their eyes on the fertile lands of the Balkans, a strategically important region connecting Europe and Asia. Control of the Black Sea was another bone of contention. Russia needed access to warm water ports for trade and naval power projection. The problem? The Ottomans controlled the Black Sea Straits, essentially holding the keys to Russia's maritime ambitions. Throw in a healthy dose of power politics, shifting alliances, and the ambitions of powerful rulers on both sides, and you've got yourself a recipe for conflict. It was like a pressure cooker, and it was only a matter of time before things boiled over. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because we're about to speed through some of the most important battles and treaties of the Russo-Turkish Wars. First up, we have the Battle of Poltava in 1709. Peter the Great crushed the Swedish army, paving the way for Russian expansion. Then came a series of wars throughout the 18th century. Catherine the Great scored major victories in the 1768-74 war. The Treaty of Kukuk-Kaynarca in 1774 granted Russia significant territorial gains. Fast forward to the Crimean War, 1853-56, where Russia faced defeat. The Treaty of Paris ended the war, impacting the balance of power in Europe. The Russo-Turkish War of 1877-78 resulted in another Ottoman defeat. The Treaty of San Stefano led to the independence of several Balkan states. Section 4. Catherine's Legacy, Shaping the Balkans. Now, let's talk about Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, who played a pivotal role in shaping the fate of the Balkans. Think of her as the Russian version of a chess grandmaster, strategically maneuvering her pieces, or in this case, armies, across the board. Catherine's reign coincided with a period of Ottoman decline, and she saw an opportunity to advance Russian interests in the region. She wasn't just about military conquest, though. Catherine understood the importance of soft power. She actively encouraged the migration of Russians to newly conquered territories, hoping to solidify Russian control and influence. Think of it as an 18th century version of a PR campaign, albeit one backed by a formidable military. Catherine's policies had a profound impact on the demographics and culture of the Balkans. Russian language and culture began to take root, especially in areas with significant Russian populations. This, in turn, planted the seeds for future conflicts and alliances as the lines between empires and ethnicities became increasingly blurred. Section 5. The Crimean War, a European crisis. Now let's talk about the Crimean War, a conflict that not only shaped the balance of power in Europe, but also exposed the brutal realities of 19th century warfare. Imagine trenches, disease, and outdated tactics, resulting in staggering casualties. This wasn't just a Russo-Turkish war, it was a European crisis, with Britain, France, and Sardinia joining the Ottomans to check Russian ambitions. The war was sparked by a complex web of factors, including religious tensions in the Holy Land. Yes, really. and Russia's desire to protect Orthodox Christians under Ottoman rule. But at its core, it was about power, prestige, and the fear of a resurgent Russia upsetting the European order. The Crimean War was a brutal affair, marked by iconic battles like the Siege of Sevastopol and the Charge of the Light Brigade, immortalized in Tennyson's poem. It also saw the rise of war correspondents, who brought the horrors of the conflict to the public through vivid accounts and, for the first time, photographs. The war ended in a Russian defeat, highlighting the limits of its military power and leading to significant reforms within the Russian Empire. Section 6. The Long Road to Independence, Balkan Nationalism and the Eastern Question. As the Ottoman Empire weakened, a new force emerged: Balkan nationalism. People in the Balkans, no longer content with being pawns in a geopolitical game, began to fight for their own independence. It was like a domino effect, with each successful uprising inspiring others. The Eastern Question, the complex issue of what to do with the declining Ottoman Empire, became a central issue in European diplomacy. Russia, eager to exploit Ottoman weakness and position itself as the protector of Slavic peoples, often supported Balkan independence movements. This, of course, didn't sit well with other European powers, who feared Russian expansionism and the potential for a wider conflict. The Russo-Turkish War of 1877 to 1878, fueled in part by Balkan nationalism, led to the independence of several Balkan states, including Serbia, Montenegro, and Romania. Bulgaria, though not granted full independence, gained significant autonomy. The Congress of Berlin, convened to prevent Russia from becoming too powerful, revised the initial treaty, highlighting the complex web of interests at play in the region. Section 7. Echoes of Empire. The enduring impact of the wars. So what's the takeaway from all this history? The Russo-Turkish Wars left a lasting impact on the Balkans, shaping the region's demographics, politics, and culture. The wars led to the decline of the Ottoman Empire and the rise of new nation-states, redrawing the map of southeastern Europe. They also intensified the great power rivalry, setting the stage for future conflicts, including World War I. The legacy of the wars is complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, they contributed to the spread of Russian language and culture in the Balkans. On the other hand, they fueled nationalist sentiments and rivalries that continue to this day. The wars also left behind a legacy of displacement and violence, as populations were uprooted and communities torn apart. The Russo-Turkish Wars are a reminder that history is not just a collection of dates and battles. It's a story of ambition, conflict, and the enduring human desire for freedom and self-determination. And while the echoes of empire may have faded, their impact on the Balkans can still be felt today.